Holy crap, what a series. I haven't talked about this series at all. Last time I talked about the Celtics was when they swept Philly, so I'm going to go through each game briefly. If you only care about Game 7 last night, go to here. Yeah, that was a lot more difficult than it needed to be. Game 1 was a blowout. Felt really good. From the beginning, I've felt that the Celtics are the stronger team. They have 3 out of the top 4 players. In my opinion, it's a fact that in the NBA, talent triumphs everything. And when you have 3 out of the 4 best players, you should win. Plain and simple. Game 2 was a lot closer. Kemba hit a very clutch shot towards the end. Go up 2-0. I'm feeling great. Game 3 came around and I was like, all right, boys, this is huge. You go up 3-0, the series is over. No team has ever come back. It's not going to start now. And then the shot that gave me nightmares up until last night, the game winner by Anunoby. I don't know what the hell they were doing on defense, but I don't know how you give up that clean of a look with 0.5 seconds left on a 3, no less. You're up by 2. Guard the 3-point. Like, it was just, there was so much with that play that I was just like, oh boy. And I knew that was going to come back and bite them. I knew after that it was probably going to go 7. Just because that's the way things go. You're that close to going up 3-0. Goes the other way. Now it's just not going to be easy for you. And then they followed it up with a very, very poor performance in Game 4. I was like, yep, it probably should have been a sweep. They were that close to it being a sweep, and now it's 2-2. Like, great. Fuck. Game 5 was a blowout. 2 out of the 3 Celtics wins were blowouts. I was like, okay, can we please close it out in 6? I don't want a fucking Game 7. I say this with confidence that this was the least surprising thing ever. That Game 6 was one of the most infuriating games I have ever watched in my entire life. And sure, you can bitch about the refs. They were not very good. Not going to really bash them too hard. They ended up winning the series. It doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, they were bad. But also, the Celtics were just shooting themselves in the feet. It felt like every other minute. They were up towards the end of the game. They couldn't close it out. Could not get a stop when they needed to. They're up in OT, the first overtime. Could not get a stop when they needed to. Goes to double OT. Same thing. You were up with a minute and a half and also under a minute left. You can't get a stop. They started trading buckets, and then you have really stupid possessions where you're not doing anything until there's 10 seconds in the shot clock, and then you're either turning it over or taking a bad shot. And I'm a very calm, pretty mellow most of the time. If I'm mad at a sports game, I'll just get really quiet. I'll just say nothing. I'm not usually one to yell or scream at my TV. This was different. I was absolutely furious. And if you are able to do that to me, congratulations, because it's not easy to accomplish. But anyways, it was 3-3. I was like, all right, Game 7, you guys got to show up. You got to find a way to come out on top. And that's exactly what they did. Last night was awesome. An absolute dogfight. It was a game of runs, and the Celtics came out on top. I was very glad the refs let them play. For most of the games, they swallowed their whistles. And in a Game 7, it should be like that anyways, because the NBA is soft as hell nowadays. But especially in a Game 7, you got to let the boys play a little bit. And they did, and I was very happy to see that. This goes for both teams, but especially the Celtics because they ended up winning. It was the definition of heart and grit. Both teams were struggling shooting. It was just an absolute rock fight. It was about who wanted it more. It was about the hustle plays. The 2 biggest plays in the game were the block shot from Marcus, which was absolutely beautiful. More on Marcus in a minute. And the offensive rebound by Tatum off of Grant's missed free throw. 2 biggest plays of the game were hustle plays. That's pretty telling. The Celtics really won a Game 7 with a 40-23-56 shooting line. 40% from the field, 23% from 3, and 56 from the free throw line. You're not going to see that very often. If that doesn't spell out a grit win, then nothing does. Really quickly, I just want to say I have a ton of respect for the Raptors, except for Nick Nurse. He's a tool bag and a douchebag, and I hate him. The rest of the team, Larry, Anunoby, Siakam, Van Fleet, all those guys. Ibaka. Again, I really feel that the Celtics are clearly the better team, and the fact that the Raptors were able to grind with us and push us to the final minutes of a Game 7, I mean, that's impressive. And, credit where credit is due. They played with heart. They left it all out there. At the end of the day, they just didn't have enough. But I truly respect that team. They pushed us to the brink, and they gave us a great series. And respect, man. To me, Marcus Smart was the best player from beginning to end of the series for the Celtics. He was the most consistent. It always seemed like he was part of the big plays. It also seemed like when the Celtics were struggling offensively, it was his defense that directly led to offense. And it was the energy, and it was just infectious and contagious, and it really, really helped them out. We love you, Marcus Smart. Sincerely, every single Boston Celtics fan. That being said, going forward, Smart cannot be the best player for the Celtics if they're going to win it all. It just can't happen. They did kind of get lucky here. Jalen and Tatum need to be better. They were really good, but shooting the ball was not very consistent. But who I'm most looking at is Kemba here. Kemba was pretty non-existent at certain points in the series. And most of last night, he ended up with 14. He got it together towards the end. And I don't know how much credit is to the box and one that Nick Nurse was running, or just Kemba just not having it. Or it could be both, combination of both. But regardless, I think against the Heat, they don't run that shit. So he should have more space to work with. He's not going to be getting double teamed every fucking time he touches the ball. That should help a lot. But anywho, he needs to be better. He needs to facilitate the game. He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to get to his sweet spots. And he needs to put up points. I really do think the Celtics missed Gordon Hayward in this series because you saw it. They have 3 consistent scoring options without him. Kemba, Tatum, Brown. When one of them is off and you only have 2 guys to rely on to get you points consistently, it's hard to win games. Gordon Hayward adds a 4th scoring option, and it makes it easier to adjust and to play things out when you have another option. And when somebody is struggling, if someone's struggling, you have 3 other options. Without Hayward, you have 2, and that makes things more difficult. I might have taken 6 breaths the entire game. I tweeted this out after they won last night. It felt like an anvil was lifted off my heart. I could finally breathe. I felt so relieved, and I still feel that way. I just feel so good. On to the Heat. Hayward coming back would be huge. For the reasons I already said, he adds another scoring threat. He makes us deeper. The Heat are a damn good team. Don't get me wrong. And we've seen grit, heart. They took out the 1 seed, and they deserve major props for that. Jimmy Butler has been an animal. They have sharpshooters. They are a deep team. They have pretty good options. The Celtics should win this series for the exact same reason that they should have and did end up beating Toronto. You draft from both of these teams, right? The Celtics have 3 out of the 4 best players. The 4 best players in this series are Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, and Jimmy Butler. 3 out of the 4 are Celtics. Talent triumphs all. You should win. The Heat are deeper than you for sure. But at the end of the day, when you have the best players, you need to win. That's how I feel. I think Miami is right on the cusp of being really, really terrifying. They're going to have a ton of cap space. They're going to be able to sign a superstar. They are looming, but I don't think currently at this present moment they are there yet. And the Celtics need to take advantage. With no Milwaukee, the Celtics are the best team in the East. And they need to take advantage of that because there are better days ahead coming for the East. Teams are going to be better. So, Game 1 starts Tuesday. I have a feeling Hayward might play. I like that there's a little bit of rest here, give him more time to get healthy and maybe knock off some of the rust. But he was out throwing up shots before Game 7. I feel like he was close to playing. And if that's the case, I think he's definitely going to play Tuesday. We shall see. Anywho, my prediction for this series is Celtics in 6. Again, You have the best players. You should win this series. They should be in the NBA Finals. And, once we get there, we'll talk about it. But for now, we're worried about the Heat. Let them have it, boys. What did you guys think of the Toronto series? What do you think about the Heat? Comment below, let me know. As always, like and subscribe, and yeah.